Hello and welcome back, Hoopers. Today we are talking about hoops, hoop sizes, different sort of additions that we can add to our hoops in order to help them flow around our body a little bit better, to make them a little bit more sticky to our bodies, to help with smoothing out our practice. So beginning hooping, this was the very first hoop I've ever had. It's pretty big. It's a 3/4 inch diameter, and you'll notice it comes out about up to my navel height. I highly recommend starting with this size. The larger the hoop, the slower the spin. That means there is more room for error, right? The smaller the hoop, the faster the spin, the more technical you have to be in your movements. So when we start with a large hoop like this, you'll notice first it's a little bit heavier. And again, that helps to slow things down. The weight also helps the hoop to sort of stick to your body a little bit better as you start on body hooping. It's also going to help you build a stronger muscle base, not just with on-body movements, but off-body movements as well. So even though you might feel like maybe you have some flow down and you want to try a smaller hoop, I still recommend trying out all of your new movements on a larger hoop, just so that you can really deepen the muscle memory and the building of flow in your practice much easier when you start to downsize. So this hoop here is it's polypropylene, and it's been taped. It's a little rough. I've had it for a long time now. And you know, there's some shiny tape on here, but what really helps is the gaffer's tape. And this is like stage tape. It's a little bit textured, like a fabric sort of tape. And that little bit of texture helps the hoop to stick to the body. There are ways that you can get it with just an interior grip tape, and I'm going to talk about that in a moment. But having it spiraled around the hoop is really effective as well. Plus, the spiraling tape gives a really nice effect of the hoop as the hoop starts to find its flow. All right, so this is where you need to start. Of course, when you're ready, you can start to downsize. So my next hoop here, and I'm just going to double check. Yes. All right. So this hoop, I love this hoop. It was another one of like it was one of the first smaller hoops that I started to downsize to. And I actually purchased this hoop from Hoopology with grip tape on the inside. Let's bring that a little bit closer. So I believe this is a product by 3M. I could be wrong. If you go to wonderful companies like Mood Hoops or Hoopology, or there's some great hoop makers on Etsy that will include this in your hoop, or on your hoop, I should say. And the grip tape just helps the hoop to stick to the body. The hoop loves bare skin, but we can't always hoop in outfits like this, right? Sometimes we only have t-shirts, jeans, whatever, right? The grip tape can help in those situations so that you can still flow without having to worry about your wardrobe. It's also helpful on bare skin as you start to get used to downsizing the hoop. It's a lot lighter, gets a little bit crazier, so just having that extra little bit of support of the hoop gripping the body can really help you to start navigating the smaller spin or the smaller diameter spin as you're ready to downsize. Now, the diameter of this hoop is, so this one's a 3/4 inch. This one is what we call the Goldilocks size, and it's an 11/16 of an inch. So it's like a midway point. They call it the Goldilocks because it's, you know, it's like not too big, not too small. And especially as you're downsizing, sometimes going straight to the 5/8 of an inch diameter is just a little too light. So this is a really great midway point. So that was my medium size. So now, much smaller hoop. This is good for a lot of technical off-body tricks. It's really light. It can move, very whippy. Lots of good effects here, being a little sloppy. It's a 5/8 inch diameter of the tubing. And with this hoop, I recommend when you're ready to downsize and you have a bare polypro, that means there is no tape on this hoop whatsoever. If you're still having a lot of trouble with the smooth surface, there's a couple of different options for you. You can take some sandpaper and lightly sand the inside of your hoop. Nothing too crazy. I recommend doing this over a sink so that all of these microplastics, you know, can maybe be gathered and not just like dispersed into the air. So, you know, it's not like the most eco-friendly way to bring more grip to your hoop, but it is an option. I tend nowadays to use hoop wax. And I got this from Mood Hoops. It came with my LED hoops. Hoopology and a lot of other hoop makers provide this as well. Essentially, it's just soy wax. I haven't tried actual beeswax, even though I am a beekeeper. The soy wax is great though because it seems to, I don't know, there's a good grip to it. And then like, it's not as wasteful, I feel, you know, like bee products, especially if you're vegan, you want to be mindful about what you're taking from the animals and how you're using it. So soy wax for me was a really great alternative. And you warm it up a little bit. It doesn't have to be super hot. It doesn't have to be melting. And you just rub it on the inside of your hoop. Now Mood Hoops creates this little heart-shaped wax, and you can see my wax actually melted to the inside of my pouch. So there's a little bit of cotton fabric stuck here on the bottom. But the heart shape is really great because right here at the crease of the heart is the perfect spot to begin rubbing the wax onto your hoop. And this has to be redone every so often. The only downside of hoop wax that I have found personally is when I take the hoop to the beach. So I love to travel, and anytime I go on vacation, I'm always bringing a hoop with me, sometimes like 5 hoops. And you know, as you're out in the sun, humid conditions, salty conditions, the hoop warms up. The wax can start to soften on the interior of the hoop and sand gets stuck to it. Not the biggest deal because when you get it home, you can just take some rubbing alcohol or some alcohol wipes and clean it off and re-wax. But just keep in mind that, you know, that is like an environmental, elemental issue that you might have to deal with when waxing your hoop. So I hope this was helpful in helping you choose some hoops, get started. Maybe you're ready to downsize into your practice. And you know, if you have the time to invest, if you have the money to invest, I say get a hoop. You know, if you want 4 hoops, make them each, you know, an inch apart. Start that way, downsizing an inch. Sometimes even half of an inch is a great way to start. Look at the size difference here. I don't remember exactly how much is, how big these are, but over the years, I've been able to downsize several inches, right? This is probably like a 9-inch difference. So with time, practice, and patience, you'll be able to navigate your flow through all different kinds of sizes of hoops. So thanks for tuning in, and I will see you next time.